How's it going, Critter Family? Hope you all are doing well. Today we are looking at a video. By Dog Training Abandonment Prevention is the name of the channel. Dog Training Bar, or Big Line, Abandonment Prevention. So he says, achieve your dog's full potential with this tool. He's going to be talking about a long line. But what he doesn't tell you is he has a Starmark collar on this dog. On every dog he works with, he sneakily adds a Starmark collar. This is what it looks like. This is a Starmark collar. It's essentially a plastic version of a prong collar, and I feel like it hurts even more than a prong collar. Even though the ends are blunt, this is on the dog. And he has it very tight on the dog. So I never use these collars, period. I certainly would never use any corrective collar on a long line, because with that much leverage, you can cause a lot of damage very easily with very little pressure.
It's okay.
So he's putting this long line on this very tight Starmark.
Oh. Good job.
See, Starmark right there. You see the same little links. Now the dog, he's kind of cheating here because the dog is watching him because he's his hand already ready in his treat pouch. Now, if he doesn't normally do this, then the dog, this is kind of a form of bribery, which happens when, not when trainers like myself use it, but when trainers like this use it. When they rely on these tools, which is constant threat of correction, and they don't know how to use treats properly. If he were to be walking, I would take my hand out of my pocket, show the dog I have nothing, and be walking away. And if they still want to focus on me, then I would reward.
Okay.
So I would
Good
reward
choice.
again there. Is he going to reward?
So
Good.
level 3 leash skills, we're going to introduce
So he has
the
like
long lead.
2 or 3 leashes tied together.
Because in order to have long-term success
Dog is getting
with
to
my
the end of
dog,
that leash.
I need to give them an outlet for their natural behavior, which
He came
is
back on his own. He didn't reward. I know he's talking to the camera, but I'm always paying attention to the dog I'm working with.
very active. If I am expecting to get my dog's
Start my
energy
collar.
out just based on walking loose
He's going to get to
on
the end of
a
his
leash,
leash here.
I'm going to have a very frustrated dog.
Pop.
I'm going to have an unrealistic
Pop with
expectation.
add the leverage
and I'm setting my
at that length with this leash. I don't use a regular flat buckle collar with a long line with any dog. I only ever use a harness because, again, with 20 feet away, your dog runs to the end and it stops. Your dog could break their neck.
myself and my dog up
He didn't
for failure.
reward there. The dog came back on his own. He didn't reward. This is not how you
I need
use a
the
long
time
line.
that my dog's on a regular leash to be about obedience and providing structure in a positive way. So I can.
But it's not positive because you use a damn Starmark collar on every dog you train. The dog has it like this on the back of their neck, so I'll put it on the back of my neck like this. And this is where your leash would connect.
have him in more situations that I want to put my dog in. Short lead is about me and my expectations and where.
I don't believe in that. I don't care. I mean, this dog is beautiful, super cute. I don't care about short lead expectations versus long lead expectations. It's good that you have too high of expectations, period. And if you don't put the time in, then you don't deserve the whatever results you want. If you take the time it takes less time. If you don't, then you're going to make a bunch of mistakes. For me, short lead is just the same as having a long lead. I don't care what I don't care about, having. Hi, Herms. I don't care about having more strict, expectations of a short lead than I do on a long lead. It's all the same. I just want to make sure my dog is paying attention to me enough. They're not pulling and they're not acting like a crazy dog.
I want my dog to have the ability to go. But it's not about my dog's enrichment. Whereas this...
For me, enrichment is on a 6-foot leash, on a 10-foot leash, on a 15, 20-foot, 30-foot, 50-foot leash. I don't care what length of leash I have. Enrichment can still be and should be on any length of lead. A lot of places you can't have your dog safely on a long 20-foot lead.
He's not quite responsible enough to be off lead, but this is the first step to do so. And if I have,
it's not that he's not responsible enough. It's you haven't taken time to teach him to be responsible. Adonis, my Shiba, was never off leash because I didn't take the time to make him responsible off leash. So it's not, an issue for making the dog responsible. It's that the human didn't take the time.
Dog that is reactive to other dogs or has too much energy, they go over threshold on a short lead. I need to first provide them structure on the short lead. And then once I can provide them structure, I need to provide
It's not just about structure. Having structure, meaning the dog is obedient to you, doesn't fix any reactivity at all. It just suppresses that outward behavior. But the dog is still emotionally compromised. The dog is still emotionally fearful, but they're just more afraid of the threat of correction than they are about expressing their emotional state towards the other dog. So you're distracting them with correction, teaching them what not to do instead of teaching them what to do. Meaning, oh, look at this little doggy. He's so cute. So I would teach them, yes, on a short leash, on a regular 6-foot lead. I would get over the reactivity by keeping them under threshold. If there's a dog over where this little tree is over here and we're over here and he's totally calm, I would walk him on a regular 6-foot leash back and forth over here. We would slowly get closer. And I'd be rewarding during that time. If he starts reacting or he stops paying attention to me or he's focused on the dog more, then we would move back and increase distance. Then I would have the other dog, if I had control of the other dog, meaning I would have a demo dog. Then the other dog would move while we sit still, because being still and being around a reactive animal, because being still around a distraction is different than being in motion around a distraction. So that's just a quick little snippet of how I would teach that first.
This is what that is going to provide that outlet. So he has a positive association with coming back to me and checking in with me because of the reps that we've done.
Because of this. Oh, ouch. So you just corrected him because this idiot doesn't know how to use a long line. He's not even paying attention to where the leash is going. He's not reeling it in and taking it out and, taking in slack and letting it out. He's not paying attention. And this dog just got a correction from popping around this. Well, he doesn't mention
when I'm using the long
the dog
lead,
is on a Starmark collar.
Not dealing with all of this and trying to manage how long I want him to go.
You should.
Everything. I completely ignore the long lead.
Well, you're an idiot because that's an easy way for your dog to get caught up. You're being lazy. You think that you are entitled because you have opposable thumbs and you use a Starmark collar that you never tell anybody about. Your dog is on a plastic prong collar, essentially, getting corrected at the end of a 20-foot sack of potatoes of a leash. 3 leashes tied together.
Attach my regular leash to it, and this is my tool. If I need to move him away from something, I'm simply going to move away from him. If he doesn't
follow you, the Starmark collar is going to pop him, and he's going to follow to avoid that pressure so it doesn't hurt him.
Paying attention to me, and I say off, I'm not going to go up to him and try and force him off. I'm going to move away from him until he gets to the end, and then I'm going to give him the physical communication, just like...
It's not physical communication. It's called a pop at the end of 20 feet on a Starmark collar.
Would with a normal short lead. It's just 25 feet instead of 5 feet.
So you have a lot more leverage on the end of a regular, not even a regular collar, on the end of a collar, which is still very dangerous. And it's a corrective collar. I don't know if you can see how red it's getting. The purpose I'm keeping this on purpose because this is how the dog is walking. And every little bit that he feels,
he's walking. He's naturally
mimicking.
Walking on a short lead. He's only getting physical communication if he goes to the end of the lead.
Ouch.
He's at the end of the lead. Off. Pops.
Pops at the end of a 25-foot
as soon as he starts to come to me. I acknowledge the action of him coming to me, not just sitting. He
sucks at the timing of treats. He didn't even treat him there.
Him sitting. Now he's an act of obedience.
Who cares?
I give him a treat. I release him.
He got the treat for the sit, not for recalling.
Okay.
You're not telling people he's at the end of a Starmark. He uses a Starmark because I'm sure it hides it because more people will associate a prong collar than this. This looks more like a regular collar than it does a prong collar.
Good job, baby boy. And if I can do this sort of enrichment for him for 30 to 45 minutes every day, every other day, then he's not going to have the same interactions that he could have on a short lead because he has an outlet for his energy. He knows that, okay, I have to act appropriately now because I'm...
I don't care. I don't think it's fair to make the dog act appropriately on a short lead, and by him appropriately, I mean, that's... For him, appropriately means be obedient. Not, you're okay to be a dog on a 6-foot leash or a 26-foot leash. Just make sure you're not pulling, you're not, you're paying a little bit of attention to me. You're not trying to go after the neighbor's, cat or go after a squirrel or whatnot. Like make sure you're not tripping me up. You have manners on leash manners, but I'm not expecting you to be obedient.
Going to have the outlet in the future to do what I want to do. If I don't provide an outlet for my dog to do what they want to do, then they're going to find a way to get that outlet in ways that are not ideal. Which
they become destructive.
Often goes into reactivity with other dogs, or
they don't just find an outlet to go after. They don't go after other dogs as an outlet for their energy. It is just there. It is their emotional state that they are nervous. They don't say, I think I'm bored. I think I'm going to go try to start a fight with the neighbor's dog. This stimulation can help. This mental stimulation can help with energy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the dog is going to, even if you have a nervous dog, they can still be nervous at the sight of another dog. Association. Unless you tire their butt out so much that they don't care about the other dog, that's not really realistic.
Even people. So if you notice, he's choosing to
stay with you because when he gets to the end of this, it pops him.
But we're going to really start to reinforce it on the long lead because he's much farther away from me. So when I call him, I'm going to... You don't have to call him.
You should have been rewarding him the entire time he comes to you on his own. So you don't have to worry about calling and then popping.
Towards me. And I'm going to mark when he finishes coming into the position I ask him to and go into active obedience. This actually does become a little bit harder with dogs that are so good at it that they just stay with you.
Meaning he can't correct the dog because the dog doesn't leave his side. When I'm working with this and I'm teaching people, recall with their dog, and they say, well, my dog won't get away from me. And I say, okay, well, you know what? Keep rewarding for that. That's good. I'd rather have a dog that's hard to get off of you than a dog that doesn't care about you and would rather be away from you the entire time you're out.
Also, they're going to be more inclined to just being in a passive heel when they go off leash also. So there's a yin and a yang to it. But I want him...
I don't care about heel. I don't care about any of that nonsense.
So that I can call him into a heel.
You can stop walking, and I'm sure he would wander off eventually.
Active obedience, and try and get up to 500 reps of a come when called that are 100% successful.
500 reps. Good Lord, dude. And guess what? After all of that, the dog is still never going to get off of this damn Starmark collar. They're going to be on it the rest of their life because this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Only have to say once.
He talks about the, training wheels and all that. These are his training wheels. This is his cheat.
So if I have a come when called,
the dog is trying different behaviors for the reward.
Done. Okay.
That was beautiful.
I want
he used,
to say
I guess, the
once,
click, the double click as the marker. Okay, perfect.
And then make it happen. If he did not come to me, then I would have just continued to back up and then gave him leash pops until he started coming to me. The moment he started coming to me, I would acknowledge it by clicking. Once he came to me, I would lure him into the position I wanted him to be in. Usually heel, but not always. You can do center if you like center. And then we release him. So coming to me is an acknowledgement of going into active obedience no matter what he's doing, no matter where he is. Very, very good, baby boy. You're still not getting a reward. Aren't you? You're too good. We're going to have to go get Sage so that we can show some less good behavior on a long lead. Our training philosophy is to do that. Ignore them, to not get to the end of the leash, or to check in with me. Off!
Ouch. Pop. Yeah, and Starmark collar at the end of a
I didn't
25-foot leash.
pull or yank her on
No,
the
you
leash.
popped her with
she
the
just
Starmark
simply
collar.
ran to the end. Something
she
I
didn't.
don't have control over.
Yes, you do. Pop.
But it's going to be a learning experience for her.
You have absolutely every chance to stop that if you weren't so lazy and ignorant, because you can shorten that leash up. You don't have to have a Starmark collar on your dog. You can have a harness on her. You can move further away from these dogs. This is not how you teach reactivity. You certainly don't do it at the end of a 25-foot leash. I mean, you can if you're further away from these dogs, but he does it because he has leverage at the end of a 25-foot leash on the Starmark collar that he doesn't tell anyone about. And I'm going to keep pointing that out. Because he's a cheat and he's a swindler. Ouch. Oh my gosh. That must have really, really hurt. Now, she didn't yelp, but it doesn't mean that she didn't feel that. That had to really... For her to twist around, that is so dangerous. This idiot is another dangerous trainer. Because he doesn't tell you. Now, if it were on a regular collar, I still would have been just as upset. I'd still be just as shocked. But the fact that it's on a... The fact that these are digging into the dog's neck at the end of 25 feet, going full speed, and twisting around. I don't know if you can see it on my neck, how red it may or may not be. But I am not running. I've walked to the end of a prong collar that was tied to a door, and that was painful enough. I certainly would never, ever want a dog to run to the end of the leash on a regular flat buckle collar. Even on a harness, it can hurt them. So he just keeps going on about, with this dog, and I think this video has already gone on long enough. So I mainly just wanted to point out that he uses a Starmark collar. One of these. This is around the dog, every dog he works with, around their throat. And he has them on a long line. So he says with this... He says, achieve your dog's full potential with this tool. He's talking about the long line. What he really means is he's using a Starmark collar. That's why the dogs are listening. And they run to the end and clothesline themselves. Because he says, and he tries to claim that, oh, I have no control over that. Yes, you do. You put them in this situation, dummy. So that was that for this video. Hope you all got something from it. You may or may not have enjoyed it. Either way, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other suggestions. Leave them down in the comments below. Go say howdy-do to your little critters. Say howdy-do for me. Give them some kind of loving they appreciate. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.